Good morning, everybody. Miracles upon miracles. I pulled into work today and there was at least two or three empty parking spaces. I am very, very happy. Can you not tell? Okay, so the Pip Boy prop that I ordered back in April finally came in. And it's based off the ones in the new Fallout series, the Pip Boy 3000. Don't waste your money. It is adorable. It is cute. It's going to make a nice, clock to sit on my thing. But the selector switch on mine sucks ass. All the modes work, except it's a pain in the ass to get it into radio mode because the selector switch has its own little kinks. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I wonder how many other people got this happy Sunday surprise. But what makes it even worse is the one time I did get into radio mode, I was playing with the buttons and I turned the radio function on for local radio. And sure enough, it bumped out of that mode into some other mode. And now every time I turn it on, you can hear the hiss of the radio trying to pick up station. So now I got to fight with it. So over probably the next 2 days to get it back to the radio screen so I can turn the radio mode off. And I haven't even opened the instruction manual yet. But sure, it's neat, it's cute, but the good news is you can pull the padding out from the inside if you have a larger forearm like mine. So I can wear it if I wanted to, but the main reason I bought it is because it's going to, it came with its own really cool display stand. It is die-cast metal. And it's supposed to be getting updates, but I love how you can tune into all these wasteland radio stations. Right now it has one, and that's the one from the TV show that played the violins and the fiddles. So sometimes you got to watch out for these things. Live and learn, you find out the hard way. Sure, it came with some really neat packaging and all that, but I'm like, now that it's here, like Spock said, you'll find there's a difference between having and wanting, especially for how much they charge for this thing. So that's why I'm very, very wary usually when I go to conventions these days and, they got all these things. It's like, yeah, where am I going to put that? I got a bunch of autograph pictures and all that and photos with people that I haven't even hung up yet. I do have them all neatly stowed away in a folder. No, that's why I didn't call this one Doctor Who, because there's not really much going on with Doctor Who right now that most of us don't already know. It's just every now and then I like to change subjects, and I feel like I'm bilking you if I say Doctor Who in the title all the time, because, we don't have a whole lot of news. The reason why I'm saying based on a true story is one of the big things that's been going around these last few years, and this happens every so often. Like, how many of you are familiar with, like, The Haunting in Connecticut and The Conjuring and all that stuff? Well, remember, from here on, I will be speaking of alleged events and alleged things and blah, blah. I have to say this because YouTube lawyers and the particular people involved, lawyers, are probably still around. And it just amazes me how many things got put out there as true stories, and they're full of bunk. Um, like one of my one of my most favorite topics. Here's the thing: I do keep an open mind. Okay, I firmly believe there are more things going on in the world than our primitive, ape brains can figure out. But there's people out there who make big fat chunks of money. Like one of the more classic ones, the Amityville Horror. Oh, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then you start to read about it on your own. That's what I always suggest to people. Don't take someone else's word for it. Do the research, look into it. And meanwhile, every single family that has ever moved into the Amityville house after the Lutzes never had a single thing happen there. And don't you love how in the books and the movie there was green sludge coming out of the walls, the toilet, blah blah blah. There was this, there was that. In the movie, there's trees coming through the windows and blah. When the new neighbors moved in, there was not so much one bit of paint out of place. And it's the same thing when you look into the haunting in Connecticut. And I remember this allegedly. It's funny how the hauntings all began when they were like going on 3 months behind the rent. And also it began, one of the people in the house was on heavy duty cancer medication. And when they changed their medication, their experiences stopped. But here's the other thing they don't tell you, if I remember correctly. And I don't think this is in the movie either. It was a duplex. There was somebody living in the floor above who never reported a single thing. No noises, no billing, and they're literally on the floor above where this is supposed to have happened. Yeah, Ronald DeFeo was the only evil to ever dwell inside that house. Ronald DeFeo Jr. And it turns out it all goes back. It started with his lawyer. I believe that was something Weber. And then, the Warrens came in. Okay, here's the one thing I'm going to tell you. Like I said, this is my opinion. This is my accusation, but it is based off study. The Warrens are full of shit. Okay? I'm not kidding. They made a fortune off bilking people. They used to show up at haunted sites uninvited and just pop in. Oh, we're here to help. Who called you? It's like, and there's even one accusation that not only did they show up at one haunted site and got their foot in the door, the second they were in, one of them starts making long distance phone calls. Now I want you to keep in mind, this is back in the 70s, early 80s and all that. Long distance was expensive. Very expensive. And yet here they are, they're making phone calls on this person's phone until he caught them and threw them out. We had it, and they keep talking about how that we conducted all these exorcisms and all that. Folks, this is back at a time when Catholic Church was getting away from that. You probably couldn't get a priest within 1,000 miles of any location to perform an actual exorcism, but you see, I'm really hitting the vape hard this morning. Hey, I'm gonna crack it. It's nice out here today, so I'm gonna let some of that out today. There we go. So, there we go. Nice breeze coming in. Yeah, that's the problem with these fog machines, as I call them. They do put out a lot of water vapor. Yeah, there's no smoke comes out of a vaporizer. A lot of people have been saying, you're smoking. That's not smoke. Oh, that's the first time in a long time I got a super chat. Thank you. We listened to Art Bell all the time back when I was at the other plant because we worked from 5:30 in the afternoon until 4 o'clock the following morning. Sometimes a bit later, depending on what time they called. And so Art Bell is one of the reasons we kept sane from midnight on. And there was a lot of stuff on Art Bell was just complete nonsense, but there was a lot of stuff that was actually, quite interesting to listen to. We just had, yeah, Coast to Coast was awesome back in the day. And of course, Art has passed away many years ago. And is George Norrie still doing that? I know he was getting on a bit when he took over. And I've been watching this interesting series on Netflix. I believe it's Investigation Alien. That one's with George Knapp. And that's a very good series. I've been enjoying that. Oh, yeah, I think so. I remember when everyone was going to, invade Area 51 until the government said no. We're going to, you had all those images of people Naruto running into Area 51 going, it's like, okay, so he's still at it, George. Okay. I know he's getting up there when he took over, so it's like, no, the most effed up series of, one of them. Oh, hang on a second. I'll never forget one night this guy came on claiming that Sasquatches were never caught because they're interdimensional beings and they can exist in up to 8 dimensions at one time. They were telepathic and they could change the weather. And I goes, the one line I'll never forget, I remember because it was a rainy week and then my wedding day came up and it was suddenly bright and sunny out that day. And when everything was done and all that, I went outside and I just said a kind, quiet, telepathic thank you to the Sasquatches that were nearby. I'm like, okay, I already know you're crazy. I got to see your wife, because if you're spending your honeymoon night having telepathic communications with Sasquatches, you've got problems. Yeah, I'm flying into Area 51 now. Now, the only person I might genuinely believe that was at once in that area was Bob Lazar. He has not once changed his story really in the last how many years. The guy is a genius when you look at all the things he's created on his own. Heck, this guy turned his one car into a rocket-propelled machine or something like that just because he could, or was it jet-propelled, something like that. But once again, like I said, be very, very careful when you see the words on a book based on a true story. Like I read Communion by Whitley Strieber. It was a good book, but when you start reading the sequels, you can tell at this point, it's like, okay, he's just making shit up at this point, because the books got weirder and weirder and weirder. And then he was claiming they were giving him superpowers and shit. It's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your bulldog. I have a friend of mine who had a bulldog, and yeah, his bulldog was adorable. Now, I want you to picture a full-size bulldog, and the thing would chase a laser pointer. That was fun till furniture got broken. But or you had that guy Bajago who claimed that he was in this top secret time travel program when he was a kid and blah blah, and then he was also in a top. Then like that later on, he claimed to have been on a top secret mission with a group of people that were going to settle Mars, and that Barack Obama was in the class and blah blah with him. And Yeah, it was probably a faked phone call. It's just the problem is you always get those. Yeah, because you're not going to fly a plane into Area 51 for one, if that's the same guy I think you're talking about, because it's forbidden airspace. You will be shot down. You're not going to even have time to make a phone call. Okay. And the grounds are all wired, so if you're going in on ground, they're going to know the minute you cross the fence, if not before, because they got vans circling that place like crazy. Oh, okay, you're talking about MK Ultra, Roger. Yeah, okay, yeah. That when you read about that program, sadly, a lot of that stuff is true. Well, I just looked at the clock. I got to get running. I'm overtime. So, also remember, after tomorrow, it's Thanksgiving week. So, you probably won't hear from me again until Monday after tomorrow. All right? So, I'm just letting you know because it's Thanksgiving week. We will be back tomorrow morning, but after that, like I said, probably not because then it's Thanksgiving and then we're going to be going to Chicago TARDIS and all that. So, take care, everyone. I got to run inside. Be kind, be calm, be safe. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a good one.